Hello and welcome to Camnet TV Main News at 19:30. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Top stories in the news tonight. Government to formulate policies that favor freedom fighters, reveals VEEP. Zambia IMF agreement to attract more investment charges Bank of Zambia Governor KALYALYA. 5 Best Choice Limited workers evicted with an invalid eviction notice. In international news, Guinea-Bissau police fire tear gas to disperse opposition Congress. And in sports news, Arsenal tightens their grip on 4th spot in the Premier League.
On Monday, 21st March 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba at 20:45 hours with his guest, Professor Munkumba.
Youth empowerment and inclusive development. In Zambia, we have at least 9 million youths, of which 2 million are excluded, and they need to be included in the affairs of the nation. The subject of youth empowerment and youths themselves, they are both an asset if well harnessed, but can be a time bomb, and a difficult time bomb to defuse if not properly handled in a proactive manner.
Don't let this moment pass you by. Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello again. Preliminary investigations by Camnet News in a matter where families of Best Choice Manufacturing Limited were evicted out of company housing on Monday, the 14th of March 2022, have revealed that the eviction notice was not valid as it did not have an official stamp from the magistrate's court. 5 workers of the same company who were fired in February 2022 without reasons for their dismissal were allegedly evicted without notice on Monday, leaving them and their families in the cold. A visit to Chinika police station to verify the authenticity of the eviction notice revealed that it was not valid, while police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says the matter will be investigated, as some police officers from the same police post are said to have acted on an invalid document by evicting the families. More in this report.
These families of former workers from Best Choice and Manufacturing Limited in Lusaka say they were evicted out of company housing on Monday by police from Chinika Police Post, who handed them this eviction letter. This follows their firing in February 2022 in dismissal letters that omitted the reason behind the act. The workers complained that all this was done without the required 3 months notice and without any compensation, leaving them stranded in the cold with little children. A check by Camnet News in the company of some United Party for National Development UPND members who have shown interest in the matter at Chinika Police Post has revealed that the eviction notice was not valid, as it lacked an official stamp from the magistrate court to make it a legal document, and only contained a stamp from Best Choice and Manufacturing Limited. This has brought questions about under what circumstances police from Chinika Police Post allegedly agreed to evict the families despite the eviction notice not being valid. Bene Hantromba, who is one of the concerned UPND members, has questioned the action.
We were told to say, of course, this document does not seem to come from any magistrate. So it seems that our colleagues, this company, had forged this document, in favor of a magistrate somewhere else. So, like we've been told to say, we need to come back here on a Monday 14 hours, so that the officers who went to evict the man must be there because they are not on duty. We want them to, we have some questions for them. How can a public officer act on a forged document? That's a major concern also. So we call upon the police command, Kajova, the IG, and Ray Hamonga. These are serious concerns. How can your officers be acting on a forged document?
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Mr. Ray Hamonga says the matter will be investigated.
And I need to find out from the officers why they acted like that. The same people who acted like that, they're going to give me a clear position. Because I'm just hearing from you. So I need to find out from the officers that did that, and then I hear why, if they acted the way you are alleging.
The family has been in the open for 5 days now, while Labour Commissioner Mr. Givens Mutengo has expressed ignorance. On the other hand, the family say they have launched a formal complaint at the Ministry of Labour.
ndelo mbafye kwati wa MP tapali fe wale kitakuru site tapali wa fisho kale sana tuambokulani abantu amale banis banchupa na babombele myaka ingi sana but bambokulani trita so kula posa family andipanse abana bale chula feta kuno kwa efya kuri atatu kwete shikwete ndalama bali leko gwali lekere kumpere ndalama kufuma mu December tapali ndalama mfola.
From Monday we've been outside here, we don't have where to sleep, we don't have shelter. At times, the first day they chased us, there's a woman temper. We were all drained, and I have a little brother, he's 3 years old. His status was truly bad, And my father is passing through a lot, despite him having sugar. Even yesterday, he fainted in town there. Please, I beg, I'm appealing, help us.
Camnet News will continue to monitor new developments to the logical conclusion of the story. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some motorists in Lusaka's Mtendere township have bemoaned the poor state of roads in the area, including the roads leading to the only health facility, Mtendere Clinic. One of the motorists spoken to has told Camnet News in an interview that there is need to urgently work on the road and ensure a permanent solution. And Area Councillor Boniface Chibeka has wondered why the government has remained quiet over the state of the roads when it is very much aware of this prevailing situation. More in the following report.
Most roads in Lusaka's Mtendere compound are in a deplorable state, a situation that is causing damages to most vehicles that frequently use the roads. A motorist spoken to has told this reporter in an interview that heavy rains have also been contributing to the poor states of the roads, adding that there is need for the government to find a lasting solution to control the flow of water to ensure that it is diverted from flowing on top of the roads.
The water which is coming from the market, it comes with garbages in the drainages where automatically it blocks the culvert which is facing this side. I wish they would have put maybe 2 culverts, the one which goes to Jesus and the one which goes to Renkauna, so that the water is
This road that connects Kalikiliki compound to Mtendere compound is equally in a deplorable state. What is saddening to mention is that the road also leads to the only health facility in the area, making it difficult for those coming from Kalikiliki compound to have access to the shortest route to the clinic. Area Councillor Boniface Chibeka has named the road as a death trap and adds that the road needs urgent intervention.
There are 2 which are leading to the health facilities which are not in good shape. Just like the other one is from Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. The one in front of Levi Mwanawasa Hospital also is under my ward, is also in bad shape, and the one in Mtendere Clinic is also in bad shape, and the ambulances are unable to pass through smoothly.
Mr. Chibeka has wondered why the government has not yet responded to the call to have the roads urgently worked on.
Kusik section beyond the clinic is where a corpse, they had to ferry a corpse using hands until to where the road is okay, because the vehicles could not pass and access that home which had a person who had died inside the home. So the issue of roads is really terrible in Mtendere.
Mtendere compound is a market to most agriculture produce, making the area economic viable. Ensuring that roads are in a good state will not only benefit the occupants of the area, but also ensure that farmers get a market for their produce. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka City Council, LCC, has moved in to demolish makeshift shop structures that were built on a road reserve in Komesa Market. In an interview conducted on site, Harry Mwangankombola Ward Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza has warned other illegal developers of similar consequences, stating that the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has directed for all illegal structures to be demolished. Meanwhile, one of the affected, Shima Tentami, alleges that she bought 4 of the stores from Patriotic Front cadres during the previous regime at a total cost of 150,000 kwacha, but was not given any documentation for the same. More in this report.
Land encroachment has remained a major problem in the country in the past few years, as there have even been reports of illegal structures being erected on places meant for important structures like drainages. The United Party for National Development UPND administration, after being elected into office on 12 August 2021, came in with a strong message that no illegalities would be allowed to continue. This has been the case at Comesa Market, where 31 makeshift stands were in the previous regime constructed on a road reserve, thereby leaving no room for emergency vehicles like fire trucks to pass through. The same stands have been posing as a nuisance for legal landowners to operate, as they were constructed right in front of their shops, making it difficult to do business. The Lusaka City Council LCC has however moved in to demolish the said structures. Speaking to Camnet News, Harry Mwangankumbula Ward Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza says the council will move in to demolish other illegal structures as per directive from the government.
With the team, these people at least halfway removing the 31 which were earmarked for removal. So 31 has been removed. And also this, we want to tell other marketeers there in Comesa that, not only in Comesa, elsewhere, that encroachment is not good, because you've seen what has happened if those people who intend or who have encroached. The Lusaka City Council and the new Don government want to bring sanity. We shall continue removing those illegal structures. So that's what we'll be doing. So for those who encroached, we have got other places who encroached there, maybe a private property or even into the road. Yeah, so we shall continue removing until we bring sanity to avoid instances that have been happening in Comesa. We had the fire in 2018, and you saw what happened. The fire tender trucks, they failed to pass in order to quench the fire.
One of the affected, Ms. Chami Tentami, says he felt cheated, alleging that she was sold 4 of the makeshift stands at 150,000 kwacha by cadres from the previous regime without any legal documents.
Bagwera kupwana, usaenda kuti, usaja chani, tuli na bana bakamfirwa, tuli nabo mara mamazia, usaenda kuti. Nikuna president atutandizi, kabe president agamba socha mene chamirira, zibaza kipwana. Keno baza kupwana, usaenda kuti, yose nagura wanu ya ziri 4, nagura 150,000. 35 times 4. Nagura 150,000.
Nagura kuiba ndani? Wanampasa mapepa hapo kula. Wanampasa mapepa. Mapepa sipana tubasi. Basi para tubasi. Manje mabisi mzibati mkagula chintu funi kotenga mapepa. Kai batu basa so chabi to manga to. Kanto ya hivi ni vitu vya kudana. The councillor has called for sensitization on the problem of land encroachment, stating that it is on the rise in the country. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Deni KALYALYA has attributed the continued depreciation of the Zambian kwacha against other currencies to a short supply of dollars in the country relative to demand. Dr. KALYALYA has told Camnet News in an interview that there has been a stagnation in terms of investors coming into the market over the past few years. The governor says investors have started showing interest in coming back into the market following the government's high-level agreement reached with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. More in this report.
The recent depreciation of the Zambian kwacha against other major convertibles has been a subject of great concern by some players in society. While the United Party for National Development administration promised that the Zambian kwacha will appreciate once it assumes office, what has been obtaining on the ground has been different. In the past few weeks, the Zambian kwacha has been under pressure, reaching record high of buying at 18 kwacha 03 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 37 ngwe against the United States dollar, the highest since December of 2021. Opposition leaders such as Party of National Unity and Progress Hive Harmony Mavududu has challenged the UPND administration to stop focusing their energy on things that do not benefit the country but work at containing the local currency that has come under pressure.
We need the actual fundamentals that must be put in place to strengthen the exchange rate. Otherwise, it will continue behaving like a yo-yo, like it's happening now.
But when contacted for a comment, Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. KALYALYA has attributed the depreciation of the local currency to a short supply of dollars in the country relative to demand caused by lack of investment from the market players.
There has been some kind of a stagnation in terms of activities of players coming into the market. But I think we are seeing them coming back, showing interest. As you saw, we had a visit of World Bank EDs. That's a good sign, and I think before long we should see other teams coming to Zambia. Now that the movements are a bit much freer, there are a lot of investors who want to talk to us and see what opportunities there are in the country.
The governor adds that Zambia is an import-dependent country and that as African markets open up, Zambians should not rush to buying products from outside the country but work at ensuring that the country produces things including the food that we consume.
Zambia, it's not a proud thing to say we are an import-dependent country, but that's what we are. So we have an opportunity to change some of that, at least, to be producing what we eat, you know. I usually tell people that now that we are opening up, we shouldn't be rushed to go and start buying other things. We can develop our own. I think if anything, one of the things COVID must have taught us that we need to do a lot more for ourselves.
The Zambian kwacha by close of business Saturday 19th March 2022 was buying at 17 kwacha 59 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 92 ngwe against one United States dollar. Ensuring that the stability in the local currency will play an important role at the economic transformation of the country going forward. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Ministry of Energy Permanent Secretary Francesca Ziambo has urged Zambians to consider moving towards the use of gas stoves to ease the burden of providing hydroelectricity, which is becoming more difficult to produce due to changes in water levels brought about by climate change. Speaking during the official launch of Earth Hour 2022, the Permanent Secretary also says the new administration is also working towards actualizing projects such as solar energy to be used on a larger scale, stating that this has been talked about for too long. Earth Hour is an annual commemoration which aims at encouraging individuals to switch off lights as one way of showing commitment towards the fight against climate change. More in this report.
Climate change has been recognized as a growing global concern as it has resulted in lowering of water levels in various water bodies due to overheating. It has also brought about a change in seasons resulting in floods in some areas and droughts in others, while also raising concerns about global food security. At the root of this is the ongoing problem of deforestation, which is said to be the major contributor to climate change. Calls have been for alternative sources of energy to be used as one way of mitigating this problem. The Ministry of Energy has therefore urged Zambians to seriously consider moving towards the use of gas stoves as one way of saving the environment. Ministry of Energy Permanent Secretary Ms. Francesca Ziambo was speaking during a launch of Earth Hour 2022, which aims at encouraging the switching off of lights as one way of saving energy.
For Zambia, we have witnessed over the recent past years adverse impacts on climate change, and she rightly alluded to. We have had challenges in the ability to generate electricity because we are mainly hydro. She's talked about the need to have other sources of renewable energy. We have been 90% or thereabout hydro dependent, but now it's time to look at other sources of energy as well, such as solar, wind energy, among others. So you may also be aware that over 70% of the Zambia's energy has also been affected because of that. She talked largely about climate change, meaning that when we have low rainfall seasons, our water levels in our major dams like Kariba, these are not able to produce power as much as we are able to produce as a country.
Meanwhile, Worldwide Fund for Nature Country Director Ms. Nachila Lankombo says the cutting off of trees for construction purposes without replanting is an issue which needs to be addressed.
Yes, we know globally the international community or the developed countries or the industrial world has contributed the most to climate change. But we, in the poorer countries, are more vulnerable because we don't have the resources and tools to fight climate change impacts when they do happen. And because of that, for our own survival and for us to have a thriving future, we need to take the steps now to control what we can control within our sphere of influence. So,
in adding his voice, a hip-hop artist, Mr. Fumba Chama, popularly known as Pilato, has urged musicians to use their music to bring positive change to the country.
And as artists, I think our role is to spread messages of hope and to share ideas on how we as people can adapt this new reality where we are aware of what the threats are and what the responsibilities are towards the earth and towards our own humanity. So as artists, we can make music about love, but we should also be making music about nature, about the environment, and raise awareness on issues that affect our climate.
Zambia is soon expected to hold a forest indaba aimed at discussing the state of forests in the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has defended former President Edgar Lungu's statement on hypocrisy. Mr. Nakachinda notes that it is common that Zambians celebrate people when they pass, but insult and disrespect them while they are alive. He says all the 5 former heads of states who have passed on were once called names and only respected after their funerals. Mr. Nakachinda says former President Edgar Lungu has been called names and that he is currently facing persecution, yet no one is talking about the good things he has done for the country.
The second Republican President, Dr. Frederick Chiluba, when he left office, he was called a thief, vilified, persecuted, even at the point of him being acquitted. To his death, he was still being called a thief. But at the time that he was being buried, everybody was up showering praises, how that he was a father of democracy and the one that laid the foundation for economic growth that we've experienced as a country. Mwanawasa, it was the same. Now we're talking about President Upia Banda. But look at President Michael Sata, it was the same. We condemn one another, condemn leaders, and only to come and celebrate them in their death. That is a high level of hypocrisy. Today we have a former head of state in Edgar Chagwa Lungu. As we speak now, President Lungu is being vilified, is being, persecuted, his family, his children, everybody is calling him a thief, somebody who never did anything to this country, even when we know that the infrastructure development that we are celebrated as a country to have achieved and attained was achieved under his watch.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development, UPND National Youth Chairman Gilbert Liswaniso says fighting corruption by government should not be twisted by the former leaders. Friday, former President Edgar Lungu talked about the importance of dialogue and reflecting on the situation in Zambia by not being hypocritical. Commenting on the statement issued by former President Edgar Lungu, Mr. Liswaniso says no one should use public sympathy to derail the genuine fight against corruption. The youth leader, however, says the UPND administration should be commended for extending an olive branch of amnesty in the recovery of stolen money and assets.
In this country, even the person who have traveled to this country to visit this by district is Akainde. Not even Kaunda, but Akainde Ichilen toward this country to see the challenges of the people, how they are suffering, what they are eating in terms of economy, in terms of agriculture, health sector, school, everything. And the last district, it was Mkorego, which Edgar Chagwa Lungu and his colleagues took him. and he saw what was the challenge in Mukobeko, was almost killed. Almost killed. You, my parents here in Namshaken, you even donating 2 kwacha, 100 kwacha to pray even for Hakainde Chilema. Even some of our grandpa died in that period because of the stress and BP and everything. But look, when he won an election, he said, please, I'm appealing to my supporters, my sympathizers, even you, the party structure. I understand what you are going through. Even meetings, who chairman is here. You could not have meetings nicely here. The PF, every section was a militia of young people. Who created it? It was Edgar Chagwalunga and PF. And they were happy. But within 6 months, UPND has demonstrated love.
You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more interesting news after this break.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. Has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Savenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Savenda, trade and logistics made easy.
On Monday, 21st March 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba at 20:45 hours with his guest, Professor Munkumba.
Youth empowerment and inclusive development. In Zambia, we have at least 9 million youths, of which 2 million are excluded, and they need to be included in the affairs of the nation. The subject of youth empowerment and youths themselves, they are both an asset if well harnessed, but can be a time bomb, and a difficult time bomb to defuse if not properly handled in a proactive manner.
Don't let this moment pass you by. Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Vice President Mutalena Lumango has described the former freedom fighter Christine Mulundika, who died on Sunday, 13th March 2022, as a shining example of dedication to one's country. Speaking at a mass held in her honor at St. Ignatius Catholic Church in Lusaka, Mrs. Nalumango, who represented President Hakainde Hichilema, says government is working on policies that will ensure that freedom fighters are taken care of as they should. She notes that the late Mrs. Mulundika was among a few gallant women that contributed to the independence struggle of the country at the time when it was difficult to do so. And the homily was categorical in advising the government not to neglect the elderly in society. The Vice President has also praised Mrs. Mulundika for her contribution to the freedom struggle and national development. President Hichilema accorded her a state funeral and 3 days of national mourning, which ends Saturday, 19th March 2022.
And I would say that for now, Father, government Cabinet, working together with the association led by the people that stood here, is working on establishing a proper policy on how to look after our founding fathers. One of the challenging things that they are looking at as they work on this policy is to ensure, as these people have identified themselves, to establish who is who. I am telling you, Father, I have met freedom fighters who are 55 years old. I believe this has spoken, you know what I'm talking about. So we need to establish who is really a freedom fighter. And they deserve the respect from all of us. Because the freedom we are enjoying today would not have been there if the Christian Mulundikas were not there. And for me, it even gets more when it comes to women. When I see Mama Betty, I see and remember Christine. If they had kept quiet, colleagues, ladies in here, I would not be standing here. We are still struggling, but they did struggle to make you stand like me and be considered normal. They weathered more than fighting the colonial rule. They weathered more than fighting society, discrimination. It is not only tribal, that is the issue. It is male and female struggle.
A gender activist, Kampamba Tembo, has urged government to put in place measures to facilitate for monitoring of gender inclusiveness at organizational level. In an interview, Ms. Tembo says it is only such mechanisms that will help the country make positive strides towards achieving gender equality in 8 years from now. Various interventions have been put in place to achieve gender equality, but concerns about existing gaps such as at organizational level for some professions and in the political arena remain a concern. Various stakeholders have expressed concern over the fight against gender equality, with the removal of the dedicated Ministry of Gender into a special division.
In the appointing authority, we are also requesting everyone in appointing authorities to remember the women in all these positions, because if you have a position that will fit a woman, that will be better for everyone and of course the country as a whole. I think we have the protocols, and these protocols are in white and black, which are supposed to be followed. So we can't say we need to have some instrument to measure or what. All those protocols are supposed to be followed. We have the International Labour Organization protocols. Elsewhere, these things are happening. 50-50 presentation is supposed to come forth, and therefore you expect the same to even happen within this country. But then if we forget about those protocols, it will be difficult. No wonder every time we've been crying of the commission to be in place. Once the commission is in place, that will be there to monitor these things, to say, no, the women are maybe 20, by 80, there are 3 by this, they will be there to monitor. So even now we are still calling upon His Excellency to consider the pushing in of the commission. This is the Gender Commission. Yes, we know gender division is there, but of course we want to have a standalone commission that will be looking into all these protocols, and the rights of the girls will come forth, and other things.
Chongwe Member of Parliament Sylvia Masebo says attaining development at all levels needs concerted efforts from all stakeholders. In a statement read on her behalf by Chongwe District Commissioner Dr. Evans Lupia at the graduation of 319 students trained in entrepreneurship at Chalimbana University, Ms. Masebo says government has placed premium over entrepreneurship, hence coming up with a dedicated ministry to support such initiatives. She says Chongwe can only develop if people within the locality decide to change their mindset and take a leading role to fostering development both at individual and international level. And Chalimbana Vice Chancellor Professor William Perry says the 319 students that have graduated with certificates in entrepreneurship were drawn from the community, including some clergy and civic leaders. Professor Perry says the program is aimed at building capacity for people to become self-reliant by running successful businesses.
A clear indication of how dedicated and committed the residents of Chongwe district are towards bettering their lives and contribute positively to economic development through the coming up of various businesses. Vice Chancellor Sir, I am so delighted to see the youths, men and women who have been energized to start businesses and grow them from lower levels to greater heights. I know that this is in line with their dreams and passions. I believe there has never been a better time for you to be so excited than today. The government of the Republic of Zambia's vision is a healthy and wealthy nation to the people, for the people. Our economy and the future prosperity of Chongwe depends on many factors. One of the key factors is the ability of you, the entrepreneurs, innovators, to develop ideas into great businesses. Followed by
the Namibia-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security has reaffirmed its role in addressing security issues along the common border. The endorsement on enhancing security between the two countries was stressed when Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma led other cabinet ministers during the 23rd session of the Namibia-Zambia Joint Commission on Defense and Security in Swakopmund in Namibia. The meeting, which was held from the 14th to the 18th of March 2022, expressed concern of the continued incidence of transnational and organized crimes not only between the two countries but the region as a whole. The two countries have since resolved to curb illegal border crossing, poaching, human and drug trafficking, among other crimes, as such undermines the security efforts by the defense institutions. The Zambia delegation was led by Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbo, as well as Zambia Air Force Commander Colin Barry. Meanwhile, the Namibian delegation led by Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs Albert Kawana congratulated Zambia for holding peaceful elections in August 2021. You're still watching Camnet TV main news. After the break, we'll have international and sports news. Stay tuned.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
At least 7 people were injured in the clashes at the headquarters of the former ruling African Party for Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde on Friday. Police used tear gas and batons to disperse activists from the delegation, the historic group that led Guinea-Bissau, a former Portuguese colony, to independence in 1974. The party had planned to hold a congress from Saturday to Tuesday, but a faction led by one of its leaders, Bolom Conte, was not in terms with other party leaders. In other news, thousands of people are stranded in a major Ukrainian port city that is being bombarded by Russian forces as they try to seize control. Several buildings in Mariupol have been reduced to rubble, with the battle now reportedly approaching the city center.
At least 7 people were injured in a clash at the headquarters of the former ruling African Party for Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde on Friday. Police used tear gas and batons to disperse activists from the delegation, the historic group that led Guinea-Bissau, a former Portuguese colony, to independence in 1974. The party had planned to hold a congress from Saturday to Tuesday, but a faction led by one of its leaders, Bolom Conte, was not in terms with the other party leaders. Bolom Conte took the case to court in February to challenge the rights of the former Prime Minister and leader of the party since 2013, Domingos Simoe Pereira, to organize a congress, arguing, according to him, that his mandate is already over at the head of the party. The court later prohibited the congress.
From above, Mariupol looks like it's had the life sucked out of it. People's homes, now frozen in time, eerie carcasses of war. And on the ground, even the dead get no peace. It's too dangerous to bury them in the cemetery, often lying outside for days. Those left alive can't make sense of this war.
My mother-in-law, born in 1936, she survived the Leningrad siege, Russian passport, honored worker of Russian Federation's fishing industry. There she is, lying.
Those killed in the bombardment are being buried in the grounds of their homes, something they never would have imagined while living here.
It's disgusting. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm disgusted, I'm scared, and I'm cold. It's a horror. I have never expected this to happen in my life.
This video has been uploaded by the Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, fighting for Russia, claiming this is an attempt to evacuate civilians. But most efforts to evacuate civilians from here have so far failed. For 3 weeks, Russia has assaulted this strategic port city. Tens of thousands are trapped here, and nothing functions anymore.
We spent 2 days in the basement. She's a sick woman who had to sit on a chair all that time. I thought she wouldn't survive. Then the men came and helped to carry her out. So we are here, all bundled up with blankets. It's very cold. We just want to go home.
Young faces still manage a smile in these unimaginable times. Everything is going to be okay, she tells her children. It will end soon. Vladimir Putin says Russian forces are not targeting civilians. The ground The reality tells a very different story.
A final farewell. But many of these 23 soldiers don't have relatives here to mourn them. They're on the other side of the front line. Their comrades stand guard, paying a final tribute.
I joined this unit recently. It's an honour for me. It's part of my family, and today the man was snatched away from our military family. We are very deeply hurt. We feel emotional. He gave his life for our country. May he rest in peace. He will always be remembered. May God take him to a better place, because it's a holy deed when one sacrifices himself for his country. He's a martyr.
It's the last family they had. Priests say their final prayers, and coffins are taken on their final journey far from the soldiers' homes, with no certainty their parents, siblings or partners will ever get to visit their final resting place.
Most of these soldiers fell at the Battle of Volnovakha. Most of them were brought here from there. Unfortunately, some of them were very young. I'm sorry, this is very difficult for me, but very young men have died while protecting Ukraine, protecting all of us.
The war in the east is fierce, and the Russians appear to be slowly but surely grinding the Ukrainians down. But Ukrainian forces continue to resist. Russian artillery has pounded the second largest city, Kharkiv, and the port city of Mariupol. In the freezing graveyard of Dnipro, far from killing the will to resist, losses on the battlefield further fuels the anger.
All we can think of is revenge, revenge, avenging our men. This gives us motivation to protect our country. It's the only way.
The conflict in the east has been going on since the invasion of Crimea in 2014. An estimated 14,000 people have been killed. These latest casualties are since the recent Russian invasion. This graveyard is full of young men that have died from this conflict. But the reality is, as long as this war goes on, more will follow.
Let's now have some sports news. Arsenal tightened their grip on fourth spot in the Premier League as Bukayo Saka's first half goal strike was enough to secure a 1-0 win over Aston Villa on Saturday. Mikel Arteta's side dominated possession and chances for the first period of the game and got their reward in the 30th minute. A short free kick out on the right was played into the box, and when it fell to Dangerman Saka on the edge, he beat Emiliano Martinez with a shot that came through a crowd of defenders. Arsenal withstood late pressure as the game ended 1-0 to move them to 54 points, 4 clear of Manchester United in 5th place, with the game still in hand over their Champions League rivals heading into the international break. And in the local news, Green Eagles Football Club has continued to lose grip on the league title as they drop 2 points in Solwezi, playing out to a goalless draw against Kansanshi Dynamos. Eagles are now 8 points behind the league leaders Red Arrows after playing out to a 0-0 draw against Kansanshi Dynamos. And in Lusaka, league leaders Red Arrows were given a run for their money against a youthful Lusaka Dynamos, with Ricky Banda's lone goal was enough to ensure the Airmen won all 3 points and open up an 8-point lead, beating Lusaka Dynamos 1-0 at Nkoloma Stadium. Kawe Warriors came out victorious against Power Dynamos, beating the Kitwe outfit by 1-0 in Kawe. Relegation-threatened Chambishi Football Club kept their hopes of staying up by beating Buildcon by 2-1. On the other hand, Ian Bakala's first game as Forest Rangers coach did not go well as they were beaten 1-0 by local rivals in Ndeni Football Club. Meanwhile, FAS Under-19 Zone 2 games played today saw Camnet Stars beating Lusaka Foundation by 2-1 and picked up all 3 maximum points in a tough encounter played at the Chainama grounds. And the Camnet News will take a look at stories making headlines once again. Government to formulate policies that will favor freedom fighters, reveals Vice President. Zambia IMF agreement to attract more investment charges Bank of Zambia Governor Denny KALYALYA. 5 Best Choice Limited workers evicted with an invalid eviction notice. In international news, Guinea-Bissau police fire tear gas to disperse opposition Congress. And in sports news, Arsenal tightens their grip on 4th spot in the Premier League. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Galatians 5 verse 22 to 23. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Thank you for watching the news. My name is Jeffrey Zembo, and have a good night.